I tricked you, everybody. I tricked you. All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Magic in the Midwest podcast number 28. 28, the age of my wife. 28.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Yeah, so this is Magic in the Midwest podcast. I am J.B. Michaels, USA Today best-selling author of many books, one of which comes out on Thursday, October 15th. A new book, everybody.
Very exciting.
A new book comes out. We could spend a little time talking about
We
it,
can.
I think. Right? It's called Festival of the Vine. Ash is cringing because she literally is old and somehow
28.
Screwed up her back.
I did.
While showering.
Yeah.
While showering. Showering? Why can't I say that word?
Showering.
Showering.
Really? I think it's just the way I'm sitting. I gotta adjust.
We may need to redo the podcast.
No, we're not redoing that.
All right, so, yes, this is Magic in the Midwest. J.B. Michaels, USA Today
were
bestselling
talking about your
author.
book.
Ashley Michaels, my more successful
Yes, hello.
wife.
I'm here. Injured, but here.
Injured, but here. She has a icy hot strip on her back.
I do.
That's where we're at, folks. That's where we're at. Sticks and rope she's made out of. Okay, so, so this week, book 14 comes out.
Yeah, it's exciting.
I'm excited. I really have to log back into J.B. Michaels Writes Books. Do you know the password for that?
Nope.
You set it up.
Well,
You don't remember?
why are we talking about that now?
I don't know. Why not? So I got to get back on the Insta, get that kind of going, just to let people know. Probably do a Facebook Live video, all that good stuff. Festival of the Vine, a Mac and Millie mystery, comes out October 15th. It is another cozy mystery set in the small town of Geneva, Illinois. And it is a whimsical, fun fall type book, novel. It is, I would say, a little spooky, but not too spooky. It's sort of like the Mac and Millie Cozy Halloween special.
Is it like
Pocus
Pocus, as
It's
their
like,
son would say?
Here's it says Pocus Pocus.
It's Pocus Pocus.
Yes. So it is a little hocus pocus. Well, actually, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that because Geneva, when I first went there, reminded me of the movie Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah. So yes, I did a sort of this is definitely the Halloween special.
Cool.
Of the Mac and Millie series.
Sounds like everyone should buy it.
Yeah, it's on pre-order right now on Amazon.
I'm excited to read it.
Guys, here's the thing about this series. It's weird, right? It's a murder mystery series. And it's just fascinating to me that it's fast becoming, it's not quite there yet, but it's fast becoming my best-selling series. And we hit best-selling status in that series last month in 3 different categories.
Do you know why it's your best-selling series?
In like 4 different countries.
Whose idea for
Yeah.
the books was it?
That's true. It was your idea. It was Ashley's idea. It was. So it's it's a great series, you guys. It's basically Hallmark Channel type stuff, right? In a book.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it just makes you feel it's
fun.
comfort. It's fun. It's funny.
It's just the right amount of thrilling, mystery, solvey, but just great.
Yeah, they're
Check it
fun.
out.
They're fun books.
The last one I read in one sitting.
Yeah.
I just read it.
Right. And let me preface this that most of my books I try to get you to read quickly because I kind of see my books sort of as movies in my head that I really just put on paper, so really they're never super long, my books. They don't have a lot of superfluous detail. Right? It's just, it's plot driven and it's fun and it keeps you reading and it keeps you turning those pages.
Yep.
You know? So yeah, Festival of the Vine, a Mac and Millie mystery is now up for pre-order, but comes out Thursday, October 15th. The 14th book in the anthology of J.B. Michaels.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Crazy.
we're gonna keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take a little break.
Are you going to take a sip of the coffee?
Maybe.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
You
Because
didn't do your normal slurping.
do you realize in 2020 I released and published 4 books, and in 2019 I think I did the same. It's just been a lot.
Yeah, it's
of
been
writing.
a lot for all of us.
Yeah, and let me tell you this: every book is an accomplishment of both Ashley and I, because a great amount of sacrifice must be made. Right? We have to like really, at some points, just not even see each other. You know,
Which, is it a sacrifice for me? I'm not sure.
well, that's what keeps the D papers away, everybody. Is by working hard and staying away from each other.
Working multiple jobs.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it is. I think it's a team effort. I mean, obviously, JB is the talent there, but when you want to achieve something like that, it takes
sacrifice.
It does.
It does.
It does.
That and this, the podcast, we have to set aside time. We plan it. We talk about it. We talk a lot about it.
And Harrison has a sacrifice.
Harrison is now upstairs watching Boris Karloff in Frankenstein.
Yep.
The iconic horror character. The movie that started the genre that we're going to talk about today. The movie that started and connects to the opening theme that I used while opening podcast number 28, and that is Universal's Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah, now this is obviously a little bit different than what we normally talk about. We've pretty much, stuck with Disney
right
up until now. But, our podcast is called Magic in the Midwest.
Right. And magic is different in many ways.
Yeah. So we definitely love Universal as well. And one of our favorite things about Universal is this event.
Yes.
So that is what we are going to talk about. And I encourage you that if you don't think it's your thing, to maybe just stay and listen.
Right.
Because you might be surprised by what you hear.
Yes. Okay, so I guess, so this year was supposed to be the 30th anniversary of Halloween Horror Nights, which I think when it first started, it was called like Fright Nights or something.
For like a few years.
For a couple of years. But they still counted those towards the 30.
They are.
So this would have been Halloween Horror Nights number 30. It was going to be this big, celebration year, right? 30 years of an amazing event. At Universal Orlando, and they obviously, because of everything happening, they're not doing that. There are a couple houses there right now, but it's not an official HHN 30. So basically, my history with Horror Nights begins with Halloween Horror Nights number 8.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. Halloween.
Hashtag
oldness. Oldness.
How old are you? Let's do the math.
I was like 19, maybe.
Oh, so you're, college.
Yeah. Like right out of college, right out of high school, like college-ish.
Yeah.
And that was right around when Islands of Adventure had opened.
Okay.
And my cousin Kenny, who, is a, high up guy in Exelon ComEd.
Yep.
He is a genius. He's also very generous. And he decided, he wanted to go to Islands of Adventure. We both did. And we realized that Horror Nights was happening at the same time. So him and I went to the opening of basically the first year that Islands of Adventure opened.
Cool.
It was weird because we got on everything. Like, there was nobody there. We got on, like, everything. It was awesome. We literally, did both parks in one day. We just, it was so good. And then we went to Horror Nights that night. And my life was changed. my concept of Halloween events was completely shifted. And this was number 8. And, and number 8, the marketing had like a mummy on the cover with like kind of a cartoonish mummy.
Now we should backtrack a little bit and maybe just say, for those people that aren't familiar with the event at all, just give a little...
okay. So Halloween Horror Nights, you guys, is just a marquee event, special event that happens, in September and October down in Orlando. And it does happen in Hollywood too, but Orlando's the main one. And it's just basically, it's a collection of haunted houses.
So the park essentially closes at like 5, like
right.
the regular park situation.
Yeah.
Or 6 or whatever it is. And then reopens, and you have to usually purchase a separate ticket.
Yes.
And you get
you do.
And the park shifts. Like during that few hours when it's closed, they have different scare zones and like the whole
the whole park is transformed.
There's like, I know we'll talk more about this, but usually there's like 10 haunted houses. Like in the last few years there's been 10, but it started out a lot smaller than that. So you go through haunted houses and there are rides that are open and then there are scare zones that you walk through, but it the whole park sort of transforms into this event.
Yeah.
So
and this is let me also preface give you some background. This is an adults aimed event.
They do say recommend like 13 and older, but I would even say not every 13-year-old
would be okay.
Yes, this is not a Mickey's Not So Scary.
No, this is a hard R event.
Yes,
I mean we're talking. There's
gore
some
and
there's some houses that are just totally gore. So this is so one thing we really need to understand is that this is for sure an adult event and even adult to the point where they've got you could buy a shot in the middle of the line. Like you're waiting in a line for a house and you could get a shot, you could get drinks, you get beers, you get so
I mean, we did see people with their kids there, but it's not very, I wouldn't encourage it. And, I mean, you don't see it a ton.
No.
You do see people doing that.
You do see people with kids. Yeah. But yeah, so basically, going back to the origin, going to number 8, I just remember being like, just blown away, but also just terrified, in general. Because it's just like, oh my gosh, like, and that was when there wasn't even that many houses yet.
How many were there?
I think there was like maybe 5 or to 7, maybe.
Okay.
It wasn't super big. It was still good enough. And then there was but the big one for me at that time, the one that scared me the most, was Enter the Mind of Norman Bates. That was what it was called, Psycho. Enter the Mind of Norman Bates.
Yeah. Okay.
And when I was a child, that was the scariest thing imaginable for me. It was Psycho. It creeped me out the most.
Okay.
It just did.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I remember seeing Psycho 2 and 3 at the video store, like on the shelf, and just freaking out because I saw it. Because Norman's got the keys and he's like smiling to the, like, it's just really creepy. Psycho 2 is a really solid movie, by the way.
It is.
Psycho 2 is excellent.
It is.
You should watch that.
I don't know if it's excellent.
It's a good sequel.
It's good.
For a sequel for a horror movie, it's
and when it was made,
it's really
You're
good.
right.
But anyway.
3 gets a little wacky.
3's a little campy and wacky. It probably almost intentionally, I think. But like, so, you go into this and I'm going into this maze and I'm like really terrified, but I did it anyway, right? I was like, I'm going to face my fear. I'm going to do this.
Because you're 19.
I'm going to face my fear. You're
not like 8. So.
Plus, I wasn't going to be like, Kenny, I can't, So yeah, that was not going to happen. So went into there, and then there was another like 3D maze that they had where you had to wear these 3D glasses. And it had the Universal monster icons, which our son is now currently obsessed with, and I don't know why. He just loves it.
Can't think of it.
Yeah. He's upstairs watching Karloff now. But yeah, and then there was a scene in that particular maze that scared the crap out of me, and it was The Exorcist. There was one scene with her in it, with the girl in it, and she's like up on the ceiling.
Ooh, that would be creepy.
Yeah. So that was also something that really creeped me out as a kid. So those both happened at my first Horror Nights. So those are burned in my brain forever. So then I took a little break, right? And few years later, came back. I think it was Halloween Horror Nights 13 with the director.
Okay.
Yeah, where they started doing these icons of, some. I mean, it happened before, but like Universal would create their own icons of, the Horror Night for the event. And this one was the director, like a creepy director.
Is that you making
of
that
horror
creaky
films.
noise? It is.
I have no idea.
It is.
And the director will see you now. And it's like he's doing a casting session, and of course you're gonna die.
Upbeat.
But it was really cool. I remember we went and thus so that was the event that really started this whole big obsession with my group of friends.
Because we all still go, or like a number of people from the group go every year.
Yeah, there's a friend of ours, Sand. Well, we're just going to call him Sand. I won't give his real name, but that's what we call him, Sand. He literally, like, not kidding, he is almost a Horror Nights icon himself.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about it a little bit, I think, last time or whatever.
Maybe.
But
we did.
He walks around Horror Nights and people recognize him and talk to him.
Yep.
And, like, almost want, like, his autograph and picture. Like, because he himself has been going since 13. He's gone every single year.
And he's there for a while. It's not like he goes for a couple days.
Yes, and the last few years, he's there for like 2 or 3 weeks. The guy
But he knows people on the inside.
Yeah, he's got
connected.
connections.
Yeah.
He's just he's a super fan. I mean, he is the expert, right?
Yes, and him and JB have been friends for a very long time. He was very close with your family.
Right.
He was at our wedding. He's a very close friend of ours.
Yes, very close friend. So he is, he loves it. He's been literally every single one since the very first time.
Because he just went, loved it, got hooked.
Yeah, you get hooked, and that's where we could go all day about all the details, but. All right, Ash, why don't you take us through your first experience?
So my first experience was in 2018, so it really wasn't that long ago. Sand was in town, and he just sort of talked about the event, and we didn't get to see him for super long, but just the way he talked about it, I was like, you know what? I've heard JB talk about this, and I know you guys are going, and like it was only like a month later, or less than a month later, something like that. And I was like, you know what? I want to do it. And to be honest, guys, I like Halloween. I enjoy it. I like scary movies, but I'm not, all about Halloween. I don't go to haunted houses or, anything like that. So I wasn't really sure how I would feel about it. But we were able to make it happen. We got, a sitter and all that.
It's funny how there are a lot of people that say the exact same thing that you said.
Well, and that's why I want to say it.
I wasn't really into haunted houses. I didn't really do that. But then you go to Horror Nights.
The reason why I think some people are they just check out, but it's the same for Disney for me. I mean, we own Disney movies, and I loved watching Disney movies and stuff, but I wasn't really all about it until I went as an adult.
Yeah.
And then felt like, wow, this is so awesome. It's emotional. It's done so well. There were so many things I like about it. And sort of the same thing happened for me for Horror Nights. We went, and first of all, the theme that year was just the 80s.
Yeah.
Which was just, that was just cool.
Yeah.
And there were performers out there doing the Thriller dance, and the houses that year were really cool. Not to go into too much detail, but in the end, for me, it's just an event that is so well done. It's so good. And if you're someone that's really, really, really afraid, then it's probably not the event for you. But the reality is you're at a theme park, and there's a ton of people around you.
It's safe.
And when you walk into the house, there's people in front of you. There's a huge line behind you. You're kind of like in a line walking through it. I mean, and JB and I talk about this all the time. You walk through, and I know that the people, like the workers in there, can see, better than you can. And I'm one of those people that's like looking around, so they know they're going to try and get me. Like they do pick out the person that they think will react. And I will like scream, but then we all laugh. Like everyone laughs after they get you. You know what I'm saying?
Well, like, that's the biggest thing, right? Here's the thing about Horror Nights, and that's why people go. And that's the loop. It's almost like an addictive loop.
Yeah, it's like adrenaline.
Right. You get this scare, then you start laughing to release the tension, and then you get scared again, and you start laughing afterwards.
Well, everyone has like a house that they're maybe more afraid of. Like JB was a little bit more tentative to go into Poltergeist that year, and I think you got a few scares in one of the houses, and then we would all crack up. Like right after you go, and then you laugh.
Oh, there was one year. We went through a run through in 2018, which was Horror Nights 28. A run through of Stranger Things,
season 1. It's so good.
Hit every scare possible. Like I was leading us, and we hit. I mean, I'm not taking credit, but like literally, we just got lucky.
You were in the front.
We got lucky, and we were hit with every single scare possible.
Well, and what happens, sometimes is that like because you're kind of in a line with everyone else just sort of moving through the house, is that you'll see the scare happen to like the party in front of you. So that's sort of what JB is talking about. Yeah. And then you kind of see it, but it didn't really happen to you, and then they either do it to you too, but it's coming, or they just wait till new people walk through.
Right.
But I have we went last year too, and I fell in love with the event. I think it's awesome. I think it's fun to have something that sort of counters Disney in the way that it's sort of an adult.
You will not get this at Disney.
No, and that's good.
Which is good.
I think that's great that it's something that Disney really can't offer, and Universal does this, and they do it so well.
Yeah.
And that year was my favorite. I did like 2018 better than 19.
Yeah.
I think because of most of the houses and just the theme in general. But it was also my first year going, so I don't know. I feel like I just rambled, but it was just a great event.
Here's the thing about it too. Horror Nights itself, like, especially for younger adults, like and for just adults in general, right? It's a cool, fun adult weekend trip. Right, you've got access to the City Walk, right, with a bunch of bars and good restaurants and all sorts of stuff. And then you go in to Horror Nights and you just have a blast.
It's open till 2.
Right. You can stay really late if you want. It's a shared experience, right? It's fun to be there with your friends, and I mean, a lot of our friends get maybe a little overserved sometimes when we're there, possibly.
Maybe.
But I mean, that's part of it. It's a party, really. It's a party at a theme park, and you're having a lot of fun. And what I love about it, especially since being a writer myself, I love that there is an immense amount of creativity that has to be done because now they do 10 houses. But to kind of give you guys a little bit of a taste of what the houses are like, you're going to have like original content that Universal Creative develops themselves.
Right, like a house that's just an original idea that they come up with.
Yeah, and I tend to gravitate more towards those because I like to see what they could come up with. What I mean? Like, what is this cool new thing that they're doing? Like, what is this? And there's always a story behind each house, right? And the way with social media and online marketing, there's like a drip campaign starting in like the summer, like, late spring, early summer. They start showing you the houses, little by little, and giving you some story, give you some background. So I really love like the original houses and the original icons. There's Jack the Clown, and I mean, there's so many stories we have.
Yeah, and we met someone on the trip last time that played Jack the Clown in one of the events that they did, which is cool.
Yeah, and I actually met Mike Aiello, who is one of the lead guys on on Horror Nights, and the lead guy on Horror Nights. I'm drawing a blank and I can't remember, but really, it was really cool meeting them. Mm-hmm. They're really really great people, down to earth people that just are there to have fun and come up with these great ideas. And it's so there's a combination of the original houses, and then they have intellectual properties that they get.
Yes.
And those intellectual properties stem everywhere from the most iconic franchises in horror history. They really started leading into it a little bit more. I think in Halloween Horror Nights 14, I think it was called Ripped from the Silver Screen. And they brought in, not 14, it was 15. They brought in Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger, Mike Myers. They started bringing in these other horror franchises, slasher franchises. And sure enough, some of the biggest intellectual properties now have had houses.
Yes.
At Horror Nights. The Shining, The Exorcist, multiple Halloween films have been adapted into Horror Nights mazes.
Yep.
So you kind of have this mixture of things that you're familiar with, right? And you were probably scared of as a kid, like you with Mike Myers.
Yes, we did do a Halloween 4 house
in
2018, which, to be honest, I mean, what did that girl say? The lady working outside of the door.
You good, girl. What did she say?
She's like, because she's like, I cried my eyes out in that house. But, or something like, but you're good.
Something like that. She reassured you.
Even though she was like, I cried my eyes out in the house, but you're good. I was like, that didn't help it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we walked out. She was walking out as we were going in. Right? Is that what you mean?
No, she was working the door.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So, as you're walking in or walking out?
As we were walking in, obviously.
Okay.
Because I was saying how I was afraid.
Okay.
And she was saying, oh, yeah, I cried my eyes out in that house. And then she was like, but you're good.
Yeah, but you're good. Go ahead. Well, so you go through the house, and it's very cramped in those houses. So if you're like a claustrophobic person, you probably shouldn't go to this event. If you're like weird about smaller spaces, don't go to a haunted house. But so you're kind of in these narrow pathways, right? And you're basically just walking through. A lot of times it could be pretty dark in there. But while we were in Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, which is the name of the house, Mike Myers is everywhere. They just,
Well, and it's an idea for a house that works so well because it's just darkness.
Yeah.
And Mike Myers.
Yeah.
They don't have to really do all this crazy detail. I mean, there were details on there, but I mean, it was basically black sheets, black walls, black everything. Mike Myers with a knife.
Yeah, they that one, that's interesting because Halloween 2, the year before, was different, was a little more...
Because of the hospital scene.
Bigger, and a little more detailed, a little more effects in it. Whereas Halloween 4, they kind of scaled it back, and it was also in a smaller building. But
honestly, I still think it worked well.
Oh, no, it did.
Because of what it is.
One of the Mike Myers scare actors, they call them. They call them scare actors. We were walking, I was behind Ash, Sand was in front of Ash. And I literally saw Mike Myers put the knife in between Ash and Sand's head.
He came out from not above, but he was taller
to the
than
side.
us.
And he went
to the side, and literally the knife stabbed. Obviously, it's a fake, whatever, but it stabbed between
literally
us.
Right between them.
I was like,
the scare actor timed it so perfectly, where it went literally in front of her face, behind Sand's head, And of course, in the whole maze, you're hearing the classic
music.
Halloween sound effect of the knife kill, like that.
Yeah, so Mike Myers is my one that I'm the most afraid of.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So so that just terrified Ash.
But it was, we were laughing. Sand was cracking up because I was so freaked out by that. But not freaked out that I'm curled up in a ball on the side.
Right.
You keep moving and you laugh it off.
So and you asked not every house is like black sheets and
no,
darkness.
I'm just no.
Like Horror Nights is known for having these crazy, elaborate, detailed scares and stage setups and beautiful sets. Like, I mean,
I think they work on them all year.
Yeah, there. You go through some of these houses, and it's just an experience just to go through the house. Like, even if the scare, I mean, there's scares, but like, it's just the detail that they put into it. The craftsmanship, and then there's like showcases, there's showpieces where like there's like, for lack of a better term, like you'll see a nightingale, which is one of the original properties, like burst through a soldier's chest, like if you hit it at the right time. Like you'll see these crazy good, like really well done special effects.
Yes, I did not mean to take anything away from that. And the reality is there's probably a lot of detail in that house that I just didn't notice because I was so afraid. But yes, I think one thing I wanted to add too is that the second year I went, it's not that you are not going to ever be scared, but you kind of, as you go through the houses and you experience them over and over
you
again.
Anticipate it.
You kind of know, like, oh, there's a little window there. Or, like, you see this little black curtain and you're like, oh, there's probably someone there. You kind of can start to a little bit anticipate at least some of the scares. No, they will, right? Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from it. But once that happens, you kind of, like, let go a little bit. Or at least I did. And then I was sort of able to really notice all of the detail around me. Because, part of you was like, wait, who's coming next? Right, and then the other part of you is like, whoa, look at that, which is obviously what it's designed to do. But we do know people that go through the houses, many times. But it is really, really cool, some of the details you notice.
Yeah.
And they do a really, one of the houses last year was Depths of Fear.
Yeah.
And it was just like you were supposed to be underwater. So like everything was painted like blue and green.
Right,
And there's, it was
an
just...
underwater station.
Station, yeah. But it was like you really felt it.
Fun.
They did such a great job with the detail. It was really cool.
Yeah, they there is just an incredible amount of detail that Universal puts into this. And, I think that's like even the way that they design the mazes, right? Because that you'll hear people say mazes and then houses. It's like so those are interchangeable. Mm-hmm. Like you hear maze, but house. Not really a maze, but because you're going in one direction, really. But it's awesome. It's awesome. And one thing you have to realize is that there is some purposeful design in the way that they do things. There are times where you're in a house where there's this big open area and you see multiple things happening. Mm-hmm. And then there's times where they really, really, really make you feel cramped, right? And then there's times where they open it up a little bit more and a little bit more, a little bit more, and then it's just craziness. And you're like stuck in an area.
Sometimes there's things like hanging down from the ceiling that it kind of is blocking your view.
Yes, just some great special effects. And also there is one design house that really, really I thought was just brilliant was Poltergeist. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Poltergeist, I was not anticipating. I just thought, like in my head, I was like, oh, we're probably gonna like go through the TV screen and then we're gonna be in the house or something.
Yeah,
couldn't be more wrong.
That was not what happened.
No, you walk in to the soundstage, which it's Universal Studios, so there are these big soundstage buildings. Poltergeist was in one of those big soundstage buildings, and it was brilliant what they did. And I was immediately, they got me from the start. I literally, when I first walked into Poltergeist, it's open. You see the house above you. You're looking up, and the house is up.
Yeah.
And you're down low, and then you realize where you're at. You're in the swimming pool.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
Okay? And you're like, oh, no. This is where all the bodies are buried, right? This is where all the Indian burials are. This is where all the dead people are. Great. So you're walking through the ground, basically, the soil, and all the graves are around you, or the dead bodies are around you. And then you make your way up into the house. And that was just brilliant.
And you sort of walk through.
Yeah. I was just like, this is awesome how they did this.
It's really awesome how they do that, and I think I'm thinking of Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
The year of 2018, and you know what JB is talking about. It's like you walk into this building, and then it all of a sudden feels like you're outside because of the way,
right.
You know, like in your perspective is either you're looking up or you're looking down, and they really do a phenomenal job of like they really you're just all in it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, there was anyways, going back to that, I think there was one part where we're actually like walking on the roof of the house, which sounds crazy, but like, you know, they actually put this stuff on the ground, like, which looked like a roof.
Shingles.
And like, shingles, and then they're sort of angled, so you were sort of walking on them.
Yeah.
And it's just cool how you kind of walk through the house, and sometimes you're going through the plot of the movie.
Yeah.
You know, but, and then another one last year was the Graveyard Games, which was cool. You walk in, but then you're outside at night.
Oh yeah.
In a graveyard.
Oh yeah.
And that
it
was
really
like,
felt
whoa.
like that.
Yeah.
That one was really creepy. Yeah. I mean, there's and then, you know, we're speaking about just that detail, and then like, so we went in. You walk into the house from Poltergeist, and the steak is on the counter moving.
Yes.
The steak was actually moving on the counter.
Mm-hmm.
There's puppets that they use. You know, puppetry that they use to, like, you know, use some of the monsters and you know, and then, you know, another highlight too is like, you know, another way that they do things is they'll have people on bungee cords and on like harnesses. And they'll swing out above you and swing towards you. And I mean, there is just, they go all out. If you want to know what a horror event should be, a Halloween event should be, definitely you gotta go to Horror Nights.
It's worth the trip. And Scary Tales did a really good job of that a few years ago. There was a witch that sort of like flew above you, but then do you remember at the very end?
Yeah.
There was like this window that we looked through on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
And the witch was really far away, and then all of a sudden she
shoots
like, and I thought, I'm like, oh, we're just supposed to see her from a distance.
Yeah.
I was sort of like, we're almost done with the maze. I'm just gonna let my guard down. Everything's totally fine. And then she like shot right up next to where we were, super fast. It was crazy. Oh
yeah,
I was so scared when that happened.
Really,
I was like,
really
oh,
great.
she's not stopping.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just
but it's fun. Cool. And then you walk out of a house, and then you have all the adrenaline, and then everyone's sort of laughing and talking about what happened, and it's just a super fun, really well done event.
Right. And then you know, it's like you're not, but here's the other great thing: you're not safe when you're out of a house.
No.
When you're out of a house, you're in scare zones.
Yeah,
and the scare zones are areas set aside that just have like these monsters roaming around them,
or
and
people
special
with
effects,
chainsaws,
people on stilts. You know,
there's
like,
smog, so you can't see everything super well.
Yeah. I mean, it's just then there's guys. Yeah, the chainsaw guys, right? People always freak out about the chainsaw guys.
They always get me.
And girls, yeah, and just people that, like, you know. And then in 2018, they did, you know, they had there's, well, not just in 2018, but now they do on New York Street in studios. They have like a projection mapping that kind of they put onto the buildings that, you know, like crumble or something. And we actually got to see all of them do Thriller, dance to Thriller, all the zombies out there, which was really cool. So I mean, in Vampires and Vamp 85, and I mean, it's just so cool. And you know, they've been working more with IP, more and more, and they usually kind of, those are some of the marquee things, right? And in 2018, it was Stranger Things. Last year they had Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say it's good to note too, at least in the last 2 years, maybe last year more so than the year before, not all the houses are like super duper scary. Like Ghostbusters definitely had some scares, but it was more
of
fun.
A tribute to Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I mean, it was, some are a little bit more chill, and then other ones, I mean, there was also like House of a Thousand Corpses or whatever, which was just bloody,
really sick
grossness. You know, and then ones that were really scary too. And then they had Classic Monsters last year, but it kind of runs, awesome. You know, they kind of have different levels of, you know, there was Killer Clowns.
From outer space,
so that was a little bit more silly, but still
fun.
Still fun.
Good scares.
Still good scares, yeah. So it's cool. And like we said, there are some rides that are still open that you can experience.
The Mummy is usually open. They usually have Diagon Alley open. With Gringotts, Escape from Gringotts is usually open. Fast and Furious is open, but nobody goes in there.
What do our friends call that?
Slow and
disappointing.
Disappointing, yes. Slow and disappointing. So and here's just to kind of give you an idea of the popularity of this event. This event single-handedly keeps Universal Studios in the black every year. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think they probably...
Well, before Harry Potter, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think with Harry Potter now, maybe they're...
On better footing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because people want to come see Harry. But yeah, no, I mean, it's an enormously popular event. They added more dates. Now it basically starts Labor Day weekend. It goes all the way through.
Just sort of like Mickey's
Halloween.
Not So Scary. It started in August.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yes.
I think it's one of those things that will start to expand.
Yeah.
Because there's upgrades, right? You can get I forget the name of it, but like the Fast Pass, essentially Express Pass, where you can go through the line faster, or what it's a separate line.
Right.
There are different things you can do.
Yeah.
To upgrade your tickets.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's a great event. Obviously, Ash and I could go into great detail about each house that we've been in. We're not going to do that today. This is just really like an overview of the event and what to expect should you want to go to Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah, and I mean, we did talk about our friend that stays there for a long time every year, but you definitely could go and experience it for a night. It doesn't have to be, like if you're just going to Orlando and you're going to Disney or whatever, I mean, you could do Universal, you could do Horror Nights just for one night.
Yeah,
if you
could.
Want to,
you could.
Yeah. 1 or 2 nights or longer. I mean, if that's what you want to do, but it's not like it has to be like 3 days or anything like that. So,
and most of the people there are locals. Most people that it's a pretty much a more of a locals driven. What's the matter?
No, I was just reading it.
Locals driven, event. But the cool thing, and to be honest, this is just getting back to a little bit of our planning thing. But Universal kind of has it, they've got packages now. Universal also has a bunch of resort hotels everywhere.
Yep.
So, they really do have a bunch of different things that, you could do. You could stay on property. What we would do is back in the day, we would stay at Royal Pacific, and just walk over or take the boat over, and then just enjoy ourselves and go in and kind of head back whenever we wanted to, or go to City Walk, for a little bit. And, it's a good time. It's a fun time. And here's the thing. If you're a person that's scared, if you go with a big group, you know what I mean? You're fine. You're with all your friends.
And
if you're scared, have a drink. And just get some liquid courage.
I need to tell a funny story about that. I had 3 drinks last year, which is more than I normally have. And we went through what I think was maybe the scariest house, the Yeti house. And I was not
Terror
fazed.
of the Yukon.
Not really at all. It wasn't really, I was scared, but it was like, I'm feeling good. Everything, there's a monster. Okay. And then the next night we went through it again, and I didn't have any drinks, and it was much scarier.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I mean, JB's right. There's such, whether you're in a big group or not, if it was just you and I, there'd be a ton of people in front of us and a ton of people behind us, and they don't really separate you.
Yeah.
You just keep walking in a big line.
Yeah.
So, it's not like, some haunted houses you go to, you have to sign a waiver and people get separated. None of that happens.
Yeah.
You're all together and you're with the people in front of you and behind you in a big group.
Yes. Yeah. It's
really not that.
We're going to get your sister to go one day.
I don't think so.
We're going to get her to go.
Not your sister.
Okay.
Who's your sister?
You don't have a sister. Yeah. We're going to get her to go. Seriously, we are. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, so that was our good Halloween Horror Nights overview episode. I really do want to get a list of the houses, Ash, and I want to do like a deep dive
I think we should.
into 2018 and 19. I think we should totally do that.
Yeah,
this was a lot of fun.
It was, and I really, like I said in the beginning, I think even if you're not a Halloween person per se, because I don't really feel like I'm a Halloween person. I like it, but I mean, it's not like I obsess over Halloween or look up all that stuff. And I have become obsessed with this event because it's so well done.
Yeah.
So if you're someone that appreciates things that are done well and just enjoying a good time and pay for something that's really worth the money, you should check out this event. I think, because this is not something I anticipated really loving.
Right.
I just thought I would sort of go and and I really like it, and I feel like there are a number of people we know that feel the same.
Yeah, they love it. They love it. And there are people, yes. Should you go, be always on the lookout for a guy about 5'8", 5'9", maybe.
Somewhere around there.
Long, dark hair, straight, dark hair, a beard.
Probably some sort of contacts that.
Yes, very scary
his,
contacts.
Yeah.
And he walks around with baggy jeans and usually a button-down shirt, like black, usually a black button-down.
Black boots.
Yeah, and black
under
boots.
his jeans.
He walks around, and he is the guy he's the icon. He's the super fan, Sand. So look out for him.
Wait, Harrison, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, everything to add
about Halloween.
Who's your favorite monster?
Oh yeah. Frankenstein's monster.
Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good
Cool.
call.
Cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, from the Midwest. Oh, sorry. Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes. iTunes is Apple Podcasts. Deezer, Stitcher, wherever you download your podcast.
Check out Bandcamp real fast.
Yeah, please. If you will, please subscribe to the Bandcamp. So Magic in the Midwest podcast.bandcamp.com is where you can subscribe for as little as $3 a month. You can help support and keep this podcast going. Anything to add, Ash?
No, that's it. Just, check us out. Check us out on Instagram. We'd love to hear about your trips to HHN. So you can, write in, let us know. And, if you tag us in a post on Instagram, we'll share it. So
yes. All right.
Yeah, that's
all right. Sounds good. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Midwest. See you later.